The white pickup truck accelerated and made a sharp turn across the desert dunes, but it lost its balance, skidded sideways, and rolled completely onto its side. The dark gray off-road Jeep accelerated powerfully to climb a narrow, rocky hill but lost momentum, the tires lost traction, and the vehicle ultimately ended up overturned on the slope. The lime yellow off-road vehicle attempted to crawl up a narrow, steep rock face. However, the challenging terrain caused it to lose balance, rear up vertically, and flip backward in a full rollover with smoke rising from the engine bay afterward. The older model Toyota pickup accelerated hard through a deep mud pit before attempting to climb a dirt hill. However, the truck lost momentum, flipped over once, and tumbled into a dirt pit below. The pink buggy blasted over a large sand crest at high speed and launched high into the air. It landed nose first, triggering a series of violent rollovers before disappearing into a massive cloud of sand and dust. The gray off-road vehicle accelerated to climb out of a deep, rocky pit. Just as it reached the rim, it lost momentum, flipped over completely, and tumbled back down to the bottom. The blue-framed buggy cleared an obstacle before accelerating hard up a rugged dirt hill. Just before reaching the top, it slammed into a tree, flipped onto its roof, then tumbled repeatedly down the slope before coming to rest at the bottom in a massive cloud of dust. The olive green Jeep accelerated hard up a near-vertical dirt embankment. Just before reaching the crest, the vehicle suddenly lost momentum, reared up vertically, then tumbled wildly several times down the hillside. The black Polaris RZR buggy accelerated hard up a steep, rocky hill. The vehicle reared up vertically, flipped backward once, then rolled onto its side in another rollover before coming to rest completely upside down at the bottom of the slope. The white SUV built up speed and charged straight up a tall, near-vertical dirt hill. Just as it reached the crest, the vehicle suddenly lost momentum, slid backward, then tumbled wildly down the slope before coming to rest at the bottom in a thick cloud of dust. The buggy accelerated hard and charged straight up a towering, near-vertical hill. The powerful momentum launched the vehicle into the air where it flipped backward before tumbling several more times down the hillside, disappearing into a massive cloud of dust. The gray buggy powered up a narrow dirt embankment. Because the slope was extremely steep and confined, the vehicle lost momentum, reared up vertically, flipped backward, and plunged into the deep pit below. The green buggy accelerated hard to conquer a narrow near-vertical dirt and sand hill. As it neared the top, the vehicle suddenly lost momentum, reared up backward, and fell back into the deep gully below. The red-framed buggy accelerated aggressively to climb a narrow, rugged dirt hill. As it surged toward the crest, both front wheels climbed onto the edge of the embankment, causing the vehicle to lose balance. It flipped completely backward and came to rest upside down. The black SUV accelerated over a large dirt mound before charging straight toward a tall dirt ramp lined with stacked tires. Carrying too much speed, the vehicle lost balance, flipped over once, and came to rest completely upside down. The dark red off-road vehicle accelerated to climb a steep cliff face. Its front wheels lost traction, causing the vehicle to rear up and flip over, tumbling down to the base of the slope. The black off-road vehicle with red accents accelerated over large logs. As the tires slipped on the rounded timber, the vehicle lost its balance, flipped backward, and landed upside down at the bottom of the slope. The turquoise buggy accelerated hard up a steep stepped rock face. Just before reaching the top, it lost momentum, flipped backward, slid in reverse, then plunged straight into the water below, where it rolled back onto all four wheels. The off-road vehicle plowed straight into a massive stack of tires. The front end landed awkwardly, causing the vehicle to flip over and come to rest completely upside down atop the stack. The olive green SUV crawled along a deeply rutted dirt trail and suddenly lost traction, causing the entire vehicle to slide backward before coming to a stop beneath a tree. The gray and black Polaris buggy accelerated up a narrow, rocky dirt hill. While attempting to climb the steep ledge, the vehicle lost balance and flipped backward into the ditch. Thanks to its momentum and the driver quickly applying throttle, the buggy rolled over once more and landed back on its wheels. The green buggy accelerated up a rugged, rocky hill. As it reached the middle of the climb, the left wheel struck the rock wall, causing the vehicle to lose balance, flip over, and tumble repeatedly down the slope before finally rolling back onto all four wheels. The orange-framed buggy accelerated hard up a tall, rugged dirt hill. As it reached the rocky section halfway up the slope, the vehicle lost traction, rolled backward, and flipped repeatedly down the hillside before coming to rest upside down at the bottom of the slope. The green-framed buggy pushed hard to climb a steep, rugged rock face deep in the forest. The vehicle lost momentum, slid backward, and tumbled chaotically several times down the long slope. During the roll, the green buggy slammed into the rear of a blue buggy parked below. The olive green buggy accelerated from the starting line and charged straight up a tall dirt embankment. After striking a dirt ridge during the climb, the vehicle flipped backward once and came to rest upside down on the concrete blocks at the base of the slope. The black Jeep accelerated across the open field and charged straight up a tall dirt embankment. Due to its massive momentum, the vehicle launched into the air, flipped multiple times, and landed safely back on all four wheels. The gray buggy pushed hard to climb through a narrow, rugged mud trench between two steep walls. However, the vehicle lost momentum, tipped backward, and slid down the steep ravine. The red 47 buggy pushed hard to climb a steep dirt wall. Just before reaching the top, the vehicle suddenly lost momentum, slid backward, and tumbled repeatedly down the slope before making one final flip and coming to rest completely upside down on the lower section of the hill. blue buggy accelerated hard on the muddy dirt track, powering through several small dusty hills. As it launched over the next high dirt ridge, the vehicle lost balance and rolled several times, but the driver kept control and managed to land safely back on all four wheels. The red-framed off-road vehicle accelerated up the rugged dirt slope. As it attempted to scale the steep embankment ahead, it suddenly lost momentum, slid backward, flipped over once, and plummeted straight down, landing upside down. The silver high-clearance SUV accelerated across the flat section before charging straight up a steep dirt hillside. After losing momentum, the vehicle immediately flipped over once down the slope and came to rest upside down in a cloud of dust. The buggy launched over a high dirt ridge. Upon landing, the heavy impact caused the two front wheels to break off, making the vehicle lose balance. It then flipped backward once and came to rest upside down in a muddy puddle. The silver aluminum frame buggy tried hard to power up the slippery sandy slope near the edge of the forest. But when the rear wheels lost traction as it attempted to climb the higher ledge, the vehicle flipped backward in a full rollover and came to rest upside down on the hillside. The red buggy made it over the gentle dirt ledge and started descending the brush-covered hillside. But because the slope angle was so steep, the vehicle lost balance and rolled over 3 times down the hill before finally coming to rest upside down in the open area below. The buggy accelerated hard up the rough dirt slope. However, as soon as it reached the top, it suddenly lost balance and flipped backward right on the hillside. The silver white steel frame rock bouncer hit the throttle hard in an attempt to conquer the steep, treacherous boulder-covered slope in the forest, but it lost balance, flipped backward in a full rollover, and ended up upside down. The gray buggy with an American flag was powering up the slippery boulder slope, but because the right side wheels climbed too high against the steep rock face, the vehicle lost its center of gravity, tipped over to the left, and ended up upside down at the bottom of the slope. The buggy with red revenge decals blasted through the muddy pit and charged straight up the dirt embankment. The vehicle immediately flipped backward, rolled down, and ended up upside down right in the creek bed. The gray and green rock bouncer was climbing a rough boulder-covered rock face, but just as the front wheels climbed onto a large rock ledge, the vehicle suddenly lost momentum. The wheels slipped and it flipped backward onto its roof right in the rocky gap. The gray buggy roared as it powered up the steep dirt wall, but it suddenly reared straight up, flipped backward onto its roof, and came to rest neatly in the muddy trench below. The buggy accelerated hard to climb the steep embankment, but after losing balance at the top, the front end shot straight up and the vehicle flipped backward, coming to rest, propped against the dirt wall in an upside-down position. The orange and black buggy accelerated hard up the steep sand hill, but it lost momentum and flipped backward down the slope. Fortunately, it managed to roll back onto all four wheels. The blue buggy charged at full speed up the steep sand hill, but when it reached the top, the strong momentum launched it into the air, sending it tumbling repeatedly all the way down to the bottom of the slope. The The purple buggy accelerated and hurtled straight up the steep cliff, launching itself high into the air before losing traction and spinning around, breaking off one of its front wheels in the process. The blue buggy raced up the slope at high speed but suddenly struck a barrier, flipped onto its roof, and began pouring out thick white smoke. It then continued sliding down the slope. The gray buggy powered hard up the concrete barricaded slope, but it suddenly lost traction and began pouring out thick white smoke. Because it lost momentum at the steep angle, the vehicle flipped backward onto its roof and came to a stop motionless on the hillside. The rock bouncer sped out of the muddy ditch and hurtled up the slope, but as soon as it hit the rocky ledge above, the front of the bike shot straight up, causing it to flip completely upside down and roll back down the slope. The red-framed, white-bodied off-road vehicle was climbing a rough, rocky slope when its right wheel suddenly struck a large rock, causing the vehicle to overturn and land on the rocky hillside. The green rock bouncer accelerated hard up the steep dirt embankment, but because the slope was too steep, it quickly lost balance and eventually ended up upside down, leaning against the dirt wall at the bottom of the hill. The red and black UTV revved up and tried to climb a narrow dirt slope surrounded by trees, but it suddenly lost momentum, slid backward, and rolled over twice down the steep hillside before ending up upside down. The orange and gray rock bouncer charged straight up a steep boulder-covered rock face, but the slope was too steep, causing it to lose momentum, slide back down, and come to rest at the bottom of the hill. The green buggy accelerated up the steep, rocky slope, but just before reaching the top, it lost momentum, tumbled backwards several times down the hillside, and came to rest upside down at the bottom. The jet black buggy charged up the steep dirt slope, its tires losing traction and kicking up a thick cloud of dust. Unable to make it over the top, the vehicle slid backward, flipped 1.5 times midway down, and ended with an upside-down crash at the bottom of the hill. The rock bouncer roared at full throttle and charged straight up the tall, rocky slope. But with so much momentum at the crest, it launched high into the air, flipped more than twice down the face of the hill, trailed blue smoke, and finally came to rest on its side. The blue rock bouncer charged straight up the steep slope through a thick cloud of dust, but it suddenly lost traction, launched into the air, and flipped backward once before crashing back down to the ground. The blue, white, and red rock bouncer flying an American flag was slowly crawling down a dirt slope when the rear suddenly kicked up, sending the vehicle onto its roof with all 4 wheels in the air.